First of all, I'm Charles Williams, and I want to welcome you all to the 22nd Annual Martin Luther King Humanitarian Awards Banquet. I want to welcome all of our special guests, all of our elected officials. I want to especially recognize Manatee Educational Television, who's been a partner of the Youth Center for as many banquets as I can remember, and who are responsible for some of the video presentations that you will be seeing tonight. So I want to really thank Charles Clapsaddle and Manatee Educational Television for their support. Before we actually start the program, I want to remind you that tonight is only one of a series of events this weekend. Of course, tonight is the Humanitarian Awards Banquet, but tomorrow at 12 noon is the annual Martin Luther King's Day Parade, which we are proud to say is the biggest parade celebrating Martin Luther King's legacy south of the Skyway. That will start at 12 o'clock promptly. Also later that day at 3 p.m. will be our youth extravaganza. That'll be at Lincoln Park. And on Sunday at 6 p.m. we will have our interracial religious service, which will begin at 6 p.m. here at the Youth Center. So make certain that you take part, if not all of these events, at least one or two more after tonight. At this time, what I would like you to do is to please stand as we welcome the Palmetto High School Junior ROTC Honor Guard. And if you will remain standing, and if you would join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And if you will remain standing while the honor guard clears.
Order, order. Right, hey. Forward, order.
All right, and if you will remain standing while I welcome Miss Dovey Murray to the podium, Miss Murray, and she will lead us in singing Lift Every Voice and Sing, and the words of which are in your program.
peace, thou who hast brought us thus along the way, thou who hast by thy might led us into the light. Keep us forever in the path, we pray, lest our feet stray from the places, our God, where we met thee, lest our hearts, drunk with the wine of the world, we forget and be shadowed beneath thy hand. May we forever stand true to our God, true to our native land. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Murray. I'm going to ask that you remain standing just for a few moments as we ask Reverend Kelvin Price to come forward for the invocation and blessing.
Let us pray. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, the God that hung the stars in the sky, the God that put the moon on her axle. God, we simply come this afternoon to say thank you. Thank you, God, for you brought us a mighty long way. We said thank you, God, because 65 years ago we might not have been all able to be under this roof. And God, we thank you for your servant, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., a man that faced water holes and hungry police dogs for us to be able to fellowship on one accord. And God, in that same spirit, we ask that you continue to renew the fight for justice in all of our hearts, oh God. We ask, God, that you decrease police brutality all over the country. But with God, we ask that you decrease senseless crime all over the country. We ask, oh God, that you put love in our hearts, that you put doing the right things in our minds. We ask, oh God, that you continue to move in our community. Continue to bless, oh God, and not curse. And God, we ask that you bless the food that we are going to receive today. Bless it to nourish our body. And God, bless us with your spirit for the nourishment of our souls. And God, when you move, and God, when you bring justice, and God, when you let liberty ring from every corner in our country, we'll be so ever gracious to give you the glory. We'll be so ever gracious to give you all of the honor and the praise. In the mighty, in the matchless, and the miracle-working name of Jesus the Christ we pray. Amen.
You may be seated. Thank you. Thank you, Reverend Price. At this time, I would like Mr. Jonathan Davis to come forward to give the official welcome and proclamation.
Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to the 22nd Annual Martin Luther King. Hello. Good evening. Welcome to the 22nd Annual Martin Luther King Jr. banquet. And as of today, I'm going to read the proclamation. Proclamation of the City of Palmetto. Whereas Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was the most important leader of the civil rights movement in the United States, and under his leadership, historic reforms were made. And whereas he committed to his vision of a society where color did not matter, he believed his vision was important enough to die for, and he put his life on the line every day to make this great country a vibrant, multiracial nation united in justice. And whereas he earned a PhD in theology from Boston University, and he daily lived his moral conviction of love and peace. He preached a gospel of nonviolence, and his commitment to make change through peace earned him the Nobel Peace Prize. And whereas each year his life, his dream, and his achievements are commemorated in intercultural cooperation, uniting people from different cultural backgrounds on a day of celebration for all people everywhere. And whereas we are indebted to Dr. King for the sacrifices he made, he won great victories over prejudice, and his legacy will live on and inspire generations to come. Now, therefore, I, Jonathan Davis, on behalf of Shirley Groover Bryant, Mayor of the City of Palmetto, Florida, do hereby proclaim January 19, 2015, as Martin Luther King Jr. Day in the City of Palmetto, and I will call upon all citizens to use this opportunity to make a personal commitment to renew the dream and carry forward the vision of Dr. Martin Luther King.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. The community and the Palmetto Youth Center is very fortunate to have a partner such as the Brayton and Herald. And tonight, to give the occasion, is my good friend and longtime supporter of the Youth Center, Ms. Joan Crowder.
Good evening. It's hard to believe a year has already passed since I last stood up here with the honor of giving the occasion. And what an extraordinary, sometimes terrifying year it has been. Tonight, I want each of you to have a dream to make 2015 a remarkable year of mending, of peace, of hope, of success. Our students rose to that occasion for this year's essay contest. They didn't shy from controversy or pain or honesty. They wrote about facing racism and poverty. They wrote about being scared to walk to school or getting back home knowing they'd be bullied, jumped, even shot. I don't remember ever having that much fear as a child. Being a bit of a dork growing up, I do wince at some of the essays about being bullied or not fitting in, but not about being shot. Then last summer, I went home to visit family in St. Louis, and we drove my old path to high school. My God, how it's changed. That path, you see, is straight through the heart of Ferguson. I grew up next door in Florissant, and my family still lives there. How many of you even knew where Ferguson was before August 8th? Now the whole world knows after racial tension and violence exploded on its streets. Deep roots of segregation, racial tension, and resentment grip this heart of the Midwest. The protests that have followed the shooting of Michael Brown have been filled with everyday people of all color and all walks of life. And they're protesting for the rights that Martin Luther King Jr. died for. Freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom from fear, freedom. It really takes courage to effect change. And that gripped the world again last week after the horrific attack in Paris that took 17 lives in revenge against the publication Charlie Hebdo. Did the publication offend? Intentionally. But as the Newspaper Association of America stated passionately in a Herald editorial, quote, "A free press is a vital and integral part of any free society. Free speech is a right that we all must defend. Journalists put themselves in harm's way every day to report about government corruption, war, and human suffering." Millions took to the streets in France. arms linked, marching in defiance to show their unity in the face of the killings. Jews, Muslims, Christians, atheists, and people of all races, ages, and political persuasions were there calling for peace. And I know Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was there marching in spirit too. It takes a community. We all have to work together to make things better. And that takes courage. It's time to find that dream. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joan. We are very fortunate here at the Palmetto Youth Center. We believe not only education of the mind, but education of the heart and education of the spirit. And there's no better way to show that than through dramatic interpretation. We are very fortunate to have Florida Studio Theater, a theater in Sarasota, which has partnered with the Youth Center, which has worked with the Youth Center in terms of exposing the youth here to the arts and to culture that they would normally not have access to. In a few moments, they will present a theatrical presentation. But before that, I want to thank Florida Studio Theater for its partnership with the Palmetto Youth Center. I want to thank Jason Cannon, Director, Kate Alexander and Joseph James, Consultants, Beth Duda, Director of Education, and Gab and Marcus, Support Apprentices, for this presentation. So in a few moments, once they get set up, we will have a dramatic presentation featuring the Florida Studio Theater and the Palmetto Youth Center.
Good evening. I would also like to add before we start, Caitlin McKelly was also a huge help. She wasn't mentioned in the program, but she is here and she was helpful. I just want to make sure that everyone knew her name, Caitlin McKelly. All right, almost exactly a year ago, Florida Studio Theater teamed up with the Palmetto Youth Center to create an original piece of theater in honor of Martin Luther King Jr. and the power of his dream that resonates to this day. We are thrilled and honored that we were asked to return this year and create with the gracious and talented kids at the Youth Center.
This year, we want to commemorate Martin Luther's dream by encouraging the kids to realize their own dreams, how individual dreams strengthen the community as a whole. To dream is to contemplate possibility. What power lives within a dream, and what makes that dream worth remembering? We come together today not only to remember the dream of one man, but to celebrate and encourage the dreams of everyone.
August 1963, 250,000 people marched on Washington. It was the largest demonstration ever seen in the nation's capital. Together, the individuals created a movement, a beat, a rhythm, a national heartbeat that could not be stamped out.
Today, we honor that beat and make it our own.
The soul is a terrible thing to waste. And when you finally lose it, it's like you fall from grace. You look at everyone with their happy faces, and they're wondering if you're one of those mental cases. So you pick yourself up, and you keep moving on. To make it in this game of life, you have to stay strong. Because what's the point if you don't follow your dreams? You let your life fall apart at the seams. Make it big, go out with a bang, so you can make a change. While you may not see what I see, I know what I want to be.
I know what I want to be.
I want to be an astronaut, inspired when I saw stars. Being able to leave Earth and live on a distant planet. I always wondered what powers lie in my dream, It's the power to do anything.
I have a dream to be a lawyer. I know I have a lot of work to do, but it's worth it. Why? Because that's my dream.
The power to inspire. A dream is the power that lies in inspiring others to make them believe in themselves and keep trying. I want to be a skater. Tony Hawk inspired me, and because I am inspired, I know I can make it.
I want to dance. The power that lies in my dance is that once I accomplish it, it might inspire others to reach for their dreams too. I have a chance, and it is worth it.
I want to be a professional recording artist, play an instrument, dance, write powerful words, bring light to issues that people don't really talk about.
My dream is to inspire and enrich the lives of children and young adults through education. I believe that a student's mind is beautiful and creative, and with the proper guidance, it can become one of the most powerful things in the world, leading them to possibilities beyond their imagination.
As a child, I had to go through a large amount of pain because my doctor was not properly trained and I got a disease called staphylococcus because of it. I want to become a doctor so no one has to go through what I had to go through.
I want to be an actor who inspires others to build community and to show that there is beauty in being different.
I've got to finish school. There are going to be a lot of ups and downs, but in the end it'll pay off. I want to be a veterinarian.
I want to be an actor. It's what I love. I couldn't imagine myself doing anything else.
What power lies in my dream?
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 That is my flight.
That is my X-ray vision.
My power is that I believe in my dream.
My power is that I'm capable of my dream.
My power is that I'm the only one from my dream.
My power is that I have
A mind.
To imagine, to think, to create, to learn, to hope, to dream,
A voice.
To speak.
to sing,
To encourage.
to inspire, to heal,
A body.
to move, to touch, to dance, to hug, to stand up,
A heart.
to beat, to bleed, to live, to feel, to love. All working as one.
My power is that I dream.
And it will be remembered.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, one of the great things about our partnership with many of the names that you see above you today in the auditorium is the fact that the businesses here in this community have supported the Youth Center over the years. One of the main supporters of the Youth Center is Bell's Corporation, which has been part of the Youth Center for so many years I can't count. The scholarship program that Bell's offers allows alumni of the Youth Center to achieve their dreams, and that is their dream of going to college. Tonight, to introduce the Bell's Charitable Foundation Scholarships is Mr. Steve Knopick, CEO of Bell's.
Good evening. You know, it's so nice to see again this year so many friends, colleagues, people that I've served on the board with here at the center. Judge, I think it's got to be 25 years ago when Seymour Sales called over to Bell's looking for a board member, and I was presented with the opportunity to join the board of the Palmetto Youth Center. That, of course, was in the early days of my time with Bells, but the relationship that we've developed between Bells and the Palmetto Youth Center, that's now nearly a quarter of a century old, maybe a little longer, has been a blessing for our company. And one of the things that stands out as I reflect over our history and my time with the company, you know, many of you don't know, but 2015 marks the 100th year that Bells has been in business. And interestingly, our founder, Papa Bell, as we called him, started out working for his uncle in a little store in downtown Palmetto called the Globe General Store, and after a while moved his store into downtown Bradenton after taking a ferry across the river. There wasn't even a bridge back then, and opened his first store on the docks near the ferry boat landing in 1915. And that 100 years is something that obviously, as a company, we're very proud of. But I'm personally proud of the members of the Bells team, Patricia Johnson, Rich Higgins, Jason Smith, that have worked so hard each year for many years now to help Palmetto Youth Center be successful, not only in this event, but in the golf tournament. And, you know, a number of our vendor partners not only have written checks to help us with these two events, but are here with us tonight and come down and play golf with us in the summer. And I want to take a moment to thank all of them for all that they've done to help with this event and help this center be successful. But all of us at Bells, whether it's my colleagues there or vendor partners, what we're most proud of is what Judge Williams mentioned. It's the kids. For us, it's all about the kids. We give our time, we give our money to make these kids successful in their lives. And tonight we recognize some special kids, this year's crop of recipients of the Bells College Scholarships. And I'll call out the names of 7 great kids. Shanathan Martin, Mercedes Martinez, Bradley Rich, Quentin Peterson, and our most recent grads, very proud of these kids, Luis Vasquez, Shaquella Albritton, and Mariana Barbosa. College graduates. And we're so happy to have helped them, but you know, they're the ones that did all the work. They're the ones that participated in the youth center over the course of their childhood, and we hope what we can create is a cycle where these young people go off and get a college degree, be successful, and then come back to our community and give back to our community and start the cycle all over again. Help us to create a rich experience for the kids of the future. At Bells, we're very proud of that, and thank you for the opportunity to present it tonight.
Thank you, Steve, and thank you, Bells. I would like to now bring back to the podium Mrs. Dovey Murray, who will give us another musical selection.
Good evening again. I'm going to do a portion of this song, Wind Beneath My Wings, and many of you have heard me sing that before, but I think of Dr. King when I think of this song, and how if he had not gone before us to do some of the things and made some of the sacrifices that he made and did some of the daring things that he did, he wasn't trying to be a hero, but he was. So actually now, he is the wind beneath our wings. Let's see. must have been cold there in my shadow to never have sunlight on your face. You were content to let me shine. You always walked one step behind. So I was the one with all the glory. While you were the one with all the strength. Yes, you were. I want you to know I know the truth. I would be nothing without you. Did you ever know you were my hero? You're everything I'd like to be. I can fly higher than an eagle, all because you were the wind beneath my wings. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's the wind beneath my wings. Oh, yes. To let me shine. You always walked one step behind. Did you ever know you were my hero? And you're everything I'd like to be. Oh, yeah. I can fly higher than an eagle because you are the wind beneath my wings. Yeah, yeah, you are the wind beneath my wings. Thank you, thank you. Dr. King, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Murray. You know, in the past couple of years, we have had the privilege to celebrate some significant anniversaries in America, not just Black America, but all of America. Those include the 50th anniversary of the March on Washington, 50th anniversary of the Civil Rights Act. We are celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Voting Rights Act. All of these acts, all of these laws that protect all of our citizens are the results of not only Martin Luther King Jr.'s work, but the work of others, many who do not get the recognition that they deserved, many common, everyday people who have put their lives on the line to make America a better place for us. In a few moments, we will be celebrating the gifted oratory of Martin Luther King. And we thought it might be good to talk about the oratory of another civil rights pioneer, someone who is one of my heroes, being a lawyer and a judge, and I think there are at least 7 or 8 lawyers in the audience tonight, and that is Thurgood Marshall. Martin Luther King Jr. and Thurgood Marshall were partners in the civil rights movement, and an argument can be made that both were equally important. One, King, used nonviolence and peaceful demonstration as his sword against oppression. Marshall, on the other hand, used the law and the Constitution as his sword against oppression. Although the two of them surprisingly did not get along, both needed each other. They also shared a gift of great oratory to push forward change. This video you are about to see, produced by Manatee Educational Television, was done in conjunction with Florida Studio Theater's production of the play Thurgood, which celebrated the life and legacy of this often overlooked hero of the civil rights movement. Let's take a look.
Who is Thurgood Marshall? He is best known for Brown versus Board of Education, a landmark United States Supreme Court case that sparked a revolution in race relations that transformed America's social and political landscape. The resulting decision, which outlawed segregation in public schools, was much more than a decision ending segregation. It was a decision that led to the destruction of a way of life that haunted this country from its inception. Lawyer, Solicitor General of the United States, federal judge, and ultimately Justice of the United States Supreme Court, Thurgood Marshall is perhaps the least acknowledged of the civil rights icons of the 20th century, yet arguably the most important. Behind every sit-in, march, boycott, and nonviolent protest, the shield and the sword of the legal precedents established by Marshall and his team of lawyers led the way toward true change in America. For ultimately, it was the laws that gave moral and legal legitimacy to these acts of civil disobedience, which led to the dismantling of what only can be described as American apartheid. George Stevens' play, Thurgood, brings to life the essence of this man, born in segregated Baltimore, Maryland, a victim himself to the very laws he would soon help dismantle, and known by those who knew of his importance to the movement as Mr. Civil Rights. Thurgood gives us the opportunity to know this man whose tireless and often dangerous work made today's America possible.
He was a champion. His life was in danger even going into these towns. He had to sleep, as we say, in different places every night for self-protection. He was blazing a trail where nobody else had gone and protecting people that were so victimized and powerless. They couldn't vote. They couldn't go to a policeman and say, I need your help. We can learn about all this in this climate of hate that he trailblazed deep, deep, deep into the South alone. There were other lawyers with him, with the NAACP, that did this also, but he very slowly toppled these little courts, and then, like a house of cards, something very big in our country fell, and that's called segregation. But it took chipping away and a great amount of courage and risk. What do we take away? Courage, risk, heroism, ideals, living those ideals, living who we are. And you don't have to be. He never considered himself a hero. He considered himself a man who did his work. As he said, his sword was the Constitution, and he said the heroes were those who stayed behind and had to live in these places. These people that lived under terrible duress, and he gave them the worth.
One of the main books I read was called The Thurgood Marshall Letters. And so we're talking 300 letters written by this man to various peoples, friends, foes, family members, newspaper editors. And so you can learn a lot about a man in terms of how he communicates, in terms of how he writes. And so I got his through line, how he told stories, how he used humor, in various ways, and also just his persistence. You learn about, it's the third time and he always answers a letter back. He can't let you, win even, and he's got to rebut you, and that's that lawyer in him. And so that was something that I found very interesting, because one of the things about him as a lawyer, he always knew that there was a round two. There was going to be a rematch. So if you won, he didn't go home and sulk and give up or move on to the next case. He immediately got on the appeal process, which is a pretty powerful skill set to have as an attorney. So then I read another great book called Young Thurgood, which was a series of interviews and information from people in his past. You know, you see pictures of the school he went to, Colored High. You see his transcripts. You see how an incredible debater that he was. Because a lot of people don't know he was he was an excellent debater before he even became a lawyer. You learn about some of the people who influenced him. You learn that he went to school with Langston Hughes and how that influenced him. You know, so I just felt like it allowed me to go to Baltimore. It didn't take me to his New York days. It didn't take me to his Supreme Court days. It took me into the young man's days.
The victories came only after many train rides to towns where no hotels or restaurants accommodated people of Marshall's race. Local blacks would welcome him, though, with hospitality and tears of gratitude. They'd clean their houses spotless for his stays. He'd join his hosts at their dinner tables and tell them stories from his travels that brought laughter to the night. He'd eat their modest offerings of salt poke and poke salad with such a plume you'd think he was dining on his favorite she-crab soup over dinner with his friends back in Harlem.
The women would have lunches packed and delivered to him each day. Broken down cars would get glued together to taxi him back and forth. Later in the day, word would spread. Men are needed to sit up all night with a sick friend. You'd hear it whispered everywhere. They'd all know what it meant. They were lining up guards to keep Marshall safe from night-riding Klansmen while he slept.
Alice Stovall, Marshall's secretary at the NAACP, recalled the effect Marshall had on blacks when he showed up at courthouses in small southern towns. They came in their jalopy curls and overalls, she recounted. All they wanted to do, if they could, was just touch him, Lawyer Marshall, as if he were a god. These poor people had come miles to be there.
Southern juries might be stacked against blacks, and judges might be biased, but Thurgood Marshall was demonstrating in cases after case
that their word was not the last. That in the U.S. Supreme Court, the injustice in their decisions and verdicts could be reversed. He was a lawyer that a white man would listen to and a black man could trust. No wonder that across the South, in their darkest, most demoralizing hours, when falsely accused men sat in jails,
when women and children stood before the ashy ruins of mob-torched homes, the spirits of black citizens would be lifted with two words whispered in defiance and hope.
Thurgood's coming.
Thurgood's coming.
Thurgood's coming.
Thank you, and thank you, Manatee Educational Television. To emphasize the importance of oratory and the legacy of Martin Luther King and Thurgood Marshall, the Palmetto Youth Center now presents participants and winners of our own Martin Luther King oratorical contest. Please welcome to the podium Ms. Patricia Johnson.
Good evening. One more time, good evening. All righty. My name is Patricia Johnson, and I am the chairperson of the Oratorical Contest Committee. This is the 14th year that the Palmetto Youth Center has hosted this event. This year, we had 243 entries in our contest for middle and high school students throughout Manatee County. They all addressed this topic. In his most notable speech, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. spoke of his dream for the future. Describe a dream that you have to make this world a better place and what it would take to make that change in today's society. The Martin Luther King contest is comprised of a written and an oral component. The entries were evaluated based on how the student complied with the rules of the contest, how they addressed the topic, the effectiveness of the introduction and the conclusion, how innovative their approach to the topic was, and finally, how they delivered the speech. This year's contestants were very powerful. They discussed topics that dealt with gender equality, homelessness, bullying, and acceptance of all people, no matter their culture, their background, their race. Some of the essays made you laugh with the writers, and some of them stirred so much deep emotion in you, you didn't know what to do. Tonight, I believe you will be truly moved by the personal stories you hear from these students, as well as their dreams for the future. Before I present the contest winners, I would first like to thank our sponsors, the Bradenton Herald for advertising this contest, Bells, which is near and dear to my heart, for giving wonderful gifts to the contest finalists, the Tillis Tutoring Center for providing the cash prizes that the students will receive, Dr. Mary Tillis, for working with the children tonight to get them ready for this performance. METV for videoing the finals, and I'm told that it's running every other day on cable TV, so check that out. And last but not least, I would like to thank CSNL and Blaylock Walters for providing the computers and the printers that our grand prize winners will receive tonight. Many of our sponsors have been with us for many, many years, and I just need to say thank you, thank you, thank you for all that you do, because we could not do this contest without your support. Let's give our sponsors a hand. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank my fellow judges, Frida Bellamy from the Palmetto Youth Center, Lily Covington, Reverend Ted Tillis, and Joan Crowder from the Bradenton Herald. Now on to our winners. In the middle school category, there was actually a tie for third place. This year's winners were Alejandro Mont and Stevie Romero. Alejandro is an 8th grade student at Buffalo Creek Middle School, and Stevie is an 8th grade student at State College Collegiate School. Both of these students will receive a cash prize of $75. Let's give them a hand. Our second place winner in the middle school category is Thashita Jean. She's a 7th grade student at Harley Middle School, and she will receive a cash prize of $100. And our grand prize winner in the middle school category, the winner of $150 cash and a brand new Dell laptop and printer, Marilyn Lopez. Now for our high school category. We had one honorable mention candidate. Unfortunately, she couldn't be here today, but her name is Hannah Munholland. She's a 10th grade student at Palmetto High. So although she's not here, You know, she's not here. Let's give her a hand. She will receive a cash prize of $50. Our third place winner in the high school category is Jacqueline Perez. Jacqueline is also a 10th grade student at Palmetto High and will receive a $75 cash prize. Our second place winner in the high school category is Abby Williams. She is also a 10th grade student at Palmetto High School, our third, and she will receive a cash prize of $100. Unfortunately, Abby is, I can't even say unfortunately, she is actually preparing for a presentation at the Manatee County Fair tomorrow, so she couldn't be here, but we'll accept her award on her behalf and give her her check for $100. And last but not least, the grand prize winner in the high school category is Shondi George. Shondi is a 10th grade student at Palmetto High School. She will receive a cash prize of $150. I just gave it to her. And a brand new Dell laptop computer and printer. So congratulations to Shondi. Now, at this time, you're in for a treat. You will hear from both of our grand prize winners in the middle and the high school category. You will first hear from Marilyn Lopez, and then immediately following her, you will hear from Shondi George. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Marilyn Lopez. I am an 8th grade student at Oasis Middle School. Growing up, my life wasn't easy. I grew up in Inglewood, California, but it wasn't until we moved to a poor neighborhood in the inner city that my life really began to change. There were many nights where I woke to gunshots outside of my bedroom window, only to discover that a neighborhood friend had been murdered in cold blood. We were poor and living in the ghetto. Survival was everything. My education, it didn't matter. I grew up with 2 half-brothers and a little sister that I loved to death. We didn't have much, but what we had was enough. But I believe poverty sometimes has a way of making people do bad things. I remember a year ago, walking down the dark streets of our neighborhood with my cousin Maribel. We were carrying a load of folded laundry in our hands from the laundromat to our home, while my mother had stayed back, folding the rest of our clothes. Maribel and I were 2 blocks from our house when we turned the corner and saw my brother and cousin in the middle of a group of 6 boys bashing angry fists into their faces. They were getting jumped by boys who barely knew them but hated them. My cousin told me to run. I was so scared. I wanted to help them, but my legs sprinted towards my house. Tears fell down my face as I reached the safety of our home. Just as I stepped inside, 2 bullets blasted through the kitchen window. My cousin and I ducked under the table, screaming, shaking. What did we do to deserve this? A month passed. Maribel and I became closer as a result of that experience. We spent the summer together. Her friends looked up to her. The boys adored her. I can remember telling her, I want to be smart and pretty like you when I'm older. 6 months later, both my brother and Maribel began to change. Maribel found a boyfriend. She began to dress differently, act differently, and soon we found out she was pregnant. My brother was doing drugs, ditching school, and had stopped coming home at night. That's when I discovered that my brother wasn't being jumped that day. He was being jumped in. He wanted those boys to hit him. He wanted to be a part of the gang. It wasn't long before my brother was behind bars. It hurt to see my mother so heartbroken. She tried so hard to make both my brothers go back to school and graduate, but they chose those stupid streets that brought all of us nothing but problems. Poverty, in my way of thinking, has a way of doing that to people. Now that I'm a bit older, I understand more things about my life. I realize that even though you grow up poor, you have a choice. Even if you grow up in the ghetto, you have a choice. You don't have to get pregnant. You don't have to join gangs or do drugs. You have to want more. When I started middle school, I knew that I didn't want to be like my cousin Maribel or my brother. I want to be a good influence for my sister and for all the little girls out there who grew up just like me. Again, I believe poverty has a way of doing that to people. Just because you grow up without the same benefits as wealthy people doesn't mean you can't achieve your goal. It just means you have to work smarter, dream higher, and fight harder to make it. I don't want to be, and I don't plan to be, 16 and pregnant. I don't want to be in a gang or doing drugs. I want to change the mindsets of those younger than me. I want to tell them my story and how I realized my life was worth more. Children just have to set their minds to it. They have to find that one person that is there for them, but they also have to be that one person that is there for someone else. That is who I'm trying to be. In a world where everyone is looking out for themselves, I want to be the type of person little girls look up to and say, remember that little girl that grew up dirty and poor? She's a lawyer now, and she's helping others out. That's what I want. That's my dream. Thank you.
Good evening. Good evening. My name is Shondi George. I am a 10th grade student at Palmetto High School. This evening, I'm going to talk to you about the changes I wish to see in the world. There are many areas in which we can improve to create a better world to live in. Our world is not a colossal mess, but it's not exactly picturesque either. Have you ever stopped to think about how different the world would be if we didn't have wars or murderers? Would we all just carry on with our everyday lives nonchalantly because we didn't have to worry about being killed or bombed? My dream is that we will create a world where everyone is economically stable, that will enable them to have food, shelter, and other things they desire. According to Wikipedia, in 2005, United Nations estimate for the amount of people homeless was 100 million. This was just an estimate, and on top of that, it was about 9 years ago. Homelessness is definitely a growing problem, especially with our economic problems that cause the instability of prices and the fluctuation in income. Unfortunately, we have people in our community who seem in need of help, be it money, clothes, or shelter. Yes, there are some shelters for the homeless. However, at times, there are so many people and not enough shelters to accommodate them. This, of course, is evident by the vast number of people seen in our community holding signs asking for money, or their willingness to work simply for food and shelter. And in some instances, you can look back through the trees to see only tents and sleeping bags. Secondly, there are many diminutive things you can do that do not take a lot of effort. For example, people who are financially secure could make financial donations to homeless shelters. We could also help by establishing organizations that house people individually, living facilities that are comfortable with privacy. Our country spends a great deal of money on TV commercials, entertainment, and other things, but seemingly only willing to spend limited funds when providing for the homeless. In addition to shelter, there are also a lot of people who do not have food. The Bread for the World article states, and I quote, "Each year, 2.6 million children die as a result of hunger-related causes," unquote. According to The Lancet, and I quote, "Every 10 seconds a child dies from hunger," unquote. Based on my calculations, by the time you have taken 40 steps, 4 children have died from hunger. Look into your trash can and see how much food you've thrown away. If you know you are unable to consume the amount of food cooked for daily use, then you should reduce the amount you cook per serving. Also, according to the Huffington Post and New York articles, in 2012 in New York City, food donations to homeless shelters were banned. Things of this nature do not help ease the burden on those who are hungry. If you would like to know how you can help, reach into your cabinet or pocket and be willing to share with those who are in need. Throughout the year, I willingly volunteer my service with my church in passing out food and backpacks to people. Also, I volunteer my service when and wherever needed throughout the community. Miragani said, and I quote, "There is more fruit in a rich man's shampoo than there is in a poor man's plate," unquote. This, of course, is a true indication of reality, for I believe, in most cases, money will be spent on the non-essentials rather than everyday needs. In conclusion, my dream for a hunger and homeless-free world can be accomplished upon further progression in economic stability, which would help rid this great country of ours, America, of homelessness. All we need to do is be willing to take the steps needed in order to improve the lives of those who need our help the most by giving all we can. Just one person can make a difference in 1,000 lives. Now, please, close your eyes. Think about just one change you want to see in the world. Now open your eyes, and from this moment on, you be that change.
I hope that all of you were as inspired as I was by the words that you have just heard from these young people. If you'll note in our program, we are in the home stretch, and one of the reasons I'm always the MC is I try to get people out of here at a reasonable time, so I can guarantee that will continue. We have several awards that we are going to be giving out tonight. The Edgar H. Price Humanitarian Award, the Louise Rogers Johnson Humanitarian Award, the Small Business Owner Award, and the Government Award. And if you look in your program, it tells you a little bit of history about those awards and the selection process. As you know, those of you who have attended this banquet, we have a video introduction of the recipients, and then we have the recipients step forward to receive their award. The first award that's going to be presented will be the Edgar H. Price Humanitarian Award. But before we get to the formal introduction of that recipient, I have to give a personal anecdote. Of all the people in this room, the one I have known the longest is the recipient of that award, and that is Representative Roussan. I can't tell everything because his wife Angela is here, but we grew up together in St. Petersburg. He is the very personification of the phrase public servant, and we appreciate all the work that he has done, not only for people in his district, but specifically for the people here at the Palmetto Youth Center. There is a rumor that his public service will continue in higher office, but that's a rumor for now unless he wants to address that later. But to introduce the recipient of the Edgar H. Price Award will be Mr. Chris Lakowiak. Let's take a look.
Representative Darrell Roussan has earned a reputation as a trailblazer in business and in the community. In 1981, he became the first African-American prosecutor in Pinellas County. In 2003, he was appointed the first chairman of the newly formed Substance Abuse and Addictions Task Force for the National Bar Association. He has emerged as one of the Bay Area's most successful businessmen, as voted by Tampa Bay Business Journal. He has also been widely consulted on political and community affairs. Under his leadership as the St. Petersburg branch president of the NAACP, membership tripled as Mr. Roussan spearheaded one high-profile victory after the next. He made headlines by demanding a fair share agreement for African Americans and other minority contractors on the $41 million rebuilding of Gibbs High School in St. Petersburg. His self-financed 24-hour gun buyback initiative was soon replicated by the Bradenton NAACP, recovering over 110 guns. In April 2008, Mr. Roussan's years of activism, bold leadership, and community service culminated in his being elected to represent Tampa Bay in the Florida House of Representatives. His district covers portions of Pinellas, Manatee, Sarasota, and Hillsborough counties. Since the 2014 legislative session, Representative Roussan has secured over $2 million in appropriations for his Martin Luther King Jr. Day of Service. He was re-elected in November 2014 by an overwhelming majority. The son of Pinellas County educators, Representative Roussan received a college degree in 1977 from Xavier University in New Orleans and graduated from law school at the University of Florida in 1980. He is married to Miss Angela Holmes Roussan, proudly raising 5 boys in St. Petersburg, and is a practicing personal injury attorney with the Dolman Law Group. He can be counted upon to keep the issues of Manatee County at the forefront of state decision making. I am pleased to introduce my friend, State Representative Darrell Roussan.
Thank you. Steve Knopick must have been prescient in his words when he talked about creating the cycle among our youth of giving back. And to hear Shawnee George and Marilyn Lopez talk about that very principle of being willing to give, I accept this only in light of we are important only as much as we give back to our communities, to our families, and to our neighborhoods. And the challenge before us, as expressed so eloquently in these youths, is to answer Dr. King's question, and when he said that the most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? In that light, I accept this humbly and say thank you.
To introduce the recipient of the Louise Rogers Johnson Humanitarian Award is Mrs. Jessica McLemore. Let's take a look.
This honoree will be retiring real soon, and through her 42 years of service at Tropicana, she has been able to engage in organizations and activities in our county that promotes diversity and embraces educational success for our youth. In 1993, she started the Lady Elite Club, whose mission was to mentor youth and provide positive outlets to assist and support the community at large. The club provided book funds and scholarships for local high school students. She has also been a member of the African American Network group called Mosaic. She worked alongside many others to leverage the knowledge of the African American community within Tropicana in order to promote community partnership. One of the many goals of this group is to develop and support local community outreach initiatives. And lastly, over the last 13 years, she has been a member of the Teamster National Black Caucus, serving in various capacities to include the current president of the Florida Gulf Coast chapter, where each year the organization provides educational scholarships to students on their way to college to assist them in reaching their full potential and achieving their dreams. She has always been eager for knowledge and believes that we should endeavor to seek it for as long as we're mentally capable. She is dedicated to service to mankind through a common thread of camaraderie and a sense of contributing to something much larger than oneself. So, Mom, on behalf of everyone here tonight, I'd like to say thanks for being a woman of action and not just words. You truly believe that you are called to give back to the community and help others. And today we honor you, and I am so proud that you have been selected as this year's Louise Rogers Johnson Humanitarian Award recipient. Please join me in welcoming Inita Edwards, my mom, mentor and friend, and one of tonight's honorees.
Thank you. Thank you. Wow. I think my daughter said everything. Thank you, Jessica, to all of you tonight. Whew. I'm going to tell you like the young lady said. First thing I want you to do is think about this. Everyone close their eyes. And I'm going to tell you what to think about. I want you to think about attending the Florida Gulf Coast Teamster National Black Caucus Organization on March 21st, 2015 in Tampa at the Hilton Hotel to help us continue to educate the young people in our community. Now open your eyes so you all agree. Thank you, thank you. First of all, I just thank God for being here and for giving our opportunity, whereas you saw fit to honor me tonight. To the Palmetto Youth Center, to Mr. Bellamy, to the Executive Director, to the staff, to my Tropicana family, to my TNDC family, and not all, but to my church family. I mean, what would I do without them? I want to say thank you for being here tonight. I am thankful for just standing here to receive this award because it gives me the option to keep on keeping on. I love serving the youth and helping them to receive their dream, to become better people. So when I look back and won't be around, hopefully in 40 years when my grandson will be standing here talking to some of your grandchildren, I hope that I can instill in him what we are doing today so he can be a proud young man and serve this county or this community, this world, wherever he may be. Thank you. I love each of you, and may God bless you.
To introduce the winner of the Small Business Owner Award is Mrs. Sandra Holly. Again, let's take a look.
Good evening. My name is Sandra Holly. It is my pleasure to present the recipient of the Small Business Owner Award, Mrs. Mildred Moulton Golden of Moulton Golden Insurance Agency, located in Bradenton, Florida. Mildred was born in the Bahamas, and at the age of 6, her mother died and she was sent to live with an elderly aunt. She stayed with her aunt until age 12. She then immigrated to the United States. It took her father 5 years to get the papers in order for her and her younger brother to come to the United States on a permanent resident visa. She came into this country to live with an older brother and his wife in Albion, New York. At the age of 15, her father died, and the one thing she remembered her father telling her was that he wanted her to make him proud. Unfortunately, within 18 months after the death of her father, her brother and his wife died within 6 months apart. At the age of 17, Mildred got married and moved to Palmetto, Florida, and by the age of 25, she was a divorced mother of 3 children with very little support. Her faith in God and the words from her father inspired her to continue to move forward. Mildred worked as a unit secretary at Manatee Memorial Hospital for 7 years. While working and caring for her children, she enrolled in Manatee Junior College. She was not content with her job, and when she was offered a job as a debit insurance agent for National Standard Life Insurance Company, she gladly accepted it. While working as a debit agent, she was encouraged to get her property and casualty insurance license. As much as she hated the Skyway Bridge, she attended Eckerd College in St. Petersburg and sat for the state board exam and successfully passed. She was hired by Allstate Insurance Company and remained in their employ as a captive agent for 25 years. In 2006, Mildred stepped out on faith and opened her own independent insurance agency. Today, Moulton Golden Insurance Agency represents over 20 insurance companies, and the sales volume of service generates over $1 million in premiums annually. She operates her agency in Bradenton, where her oldest daughter, Lisa Bonds, works by her side as a licensed customer service representative. She believes that God has truly blessed her, and because of her beliefs, she has served on several boards throughout the community and within her local church. She currently serves on the executive board of Church Women United of Manatee County. Mildred has 3 other children, Robin, Kevin, and Tiara. She is married to Reverend James T. Golden, who is the newly appointed pastor of Mount Zion AME Church in Port Tampa. He has 2 daughters, Vivian and Faye. Together, they have a blended family of 6 children and 7 grandchildren. An astute businesswoman, Mildred has triumphed against the odds. Please welcome to the stage my friend, Mrs. Mildred Moulton Golden, the winner of this year's Small Business Owner Award.
Good evening. I'm going to try and hold it together because as I listened to my bio, it brought back so many different emotions. This is not a pity party because I've come too far to feel sad, but it does bring back some memories. I want to say to this body, thank you for continuing with the dream. To the committee that saw fit to bestow upon me this honor, thank you. I want to thank God because without him, none of this would be possible. I am one of those folks, they said, you need to be in another line, but that's not what my father told me. He said, I'm gone. It took me too long to get you into the United States. When you get there, I expect you to do something for yourself. And tonight, as I look over in the room over there, there's a table. I have 3 beautiful daughters. I have 3 beautiful grandkids. I have a daughter that has 2 college degrees. I have a granddaughter that's on her way. She's just been accepted into Johnson Wells University. I am excited. The dream does live on. I want to thank the clients that have allowed me to service them for the last 30+ years. I have clients from Tallahassee to Miami. Thank you. God is good. I want to thank my friend Sandra. She is the president of Church Women United, which is a very, very prominent organization within this community. And it is made up of women, Christian women, throughout the entire county. We are comprised of about 20 churches, and we are looking for new members. You're getting ready to retire. You have a First Friday available. Come out and support the organization. We do wonderful things. We help with the elementary schools. There are about 6 schools that we support. We have an organization or a unit within our organization. It's called Souls for Little Souls. We provide shoes. So far, we provided over 500 pairs of shoes for children. We are serious about serving our community, and we encourage you to come out and support us. There are so many people I could give thanks to. I want to give a special thank you to my daughter, Lisa Bonds. She's the one that's been by my side for over 15 years. She stood with me when we have gone through the ups, the downs, the in-betweens, and the outs. We have had wonderful times together. We've had some not so great times together, but I'm still moving on. The business is still there. We're getting new clients every day, and we invite you, if you are interested in renewing that policy. Hey, this is a thank you, but I know a plug. When I get a plug, I'm going to give that plug. We are there, 2120 Manatee Avenue East. No shame in my game. Thank you so much. This has been a blessing. Thank you. I have to go home. I'm not crazy. I got to thank my husband because as he would put it, he's the wings beneath he's the wind beneath my wings. Sincerely, he is a godsend. He knows how to help in moderation. Thank you and good night.
To introduce our last award, our last official award, which is the Government Award, those of you who are Lincoln Memorial High School alumni will know the person who is going to have the privilege of introducing that recipient. The reason I bring that up is I had an opportunity, along with Manatee Educational Television, to do a film that celebrates the legacy of Lincoln Memorial High School. And we were thinking about who would be a great narrator for that film. You think of people like Morgan Freeman and people like that because of their great voice. But I can tell you, we picked the next presenter to be the narrator. And if I had to choose between Morgan Freeman and Moody Johnson, I'm taking Moody Johnson. To introduce the winner of the government award, known simply as The Voice, Mr. E.D. Moody Johnson. So take a look.
She is leading a great team of city workers who are making Palmetto a place where visitors want to return, where the good news is of a well-run city government, where there is growth and safety for those living and visiting here. Mayor Shirley Groover Bryant is my friend, a dedicated person who would like for you to remember where you came from, who you are, and to always be happy. On a personal note, Shirley learned life lessons from her parents, and if I could, let me share one story that stands out to me. Her mother would ask her to carry money to needy families without wanting any recognition or any praise. So that is the kind of friend she is, a sharing and caring person. Congratulations, Mayor Bryant, and keep up the good work.
He did do a stellar job, didn't he? I would be remiss standing up here if I did not first introduce my favorite sister. She's also my only sister. Patricia Groover Dodson. And she's kind of helped raise me also. There was a lot of people that had a lot to do with raising me, but she was always very close to me and looked out for me a lot. And also, I want to introduce my city family that I'll be talking about in a minute. We have with us Commissioner Jonathan Davis and his partner, Kim Haddon. And also we have Commissioner Harold Smith and his lovely wife. And also, even though he has now left us to go across the river, Commissioner Charles Smith. Thank you all for being here this evening. And from my department head team, we have our Chief Rick Wells. He's in the back. He's going to get me for that later. But at any rate, he does an awful lot in working with us at the city. I'm so humbled, and yet I'm so proud and honored to be here this evening. Someone close to me once wrote what Moody referenced. It's important to always remember who you came from, where you came from, and the most important thing in life is to be happy. And I believe that. I feel I have to accept the award this evening on behalf of who I came from, which was my parents and my family, that instilled a love and caring for people. During many of the really tough times in the economy in years past and growing up, my brothers and my sister and I were sent on what we called errands by either my mother or my father, or sometimes both. We would take bags or boxes of groceries and occasionally cash to some of the families in need. I'm grateful that they taught me the importance of extending a helping hand. And also, they allowed me to learn how good that feels. I only wish I had $1 for every time through the years that I've had someone stop me and share with me how those errands I referred to helped pull them through the toughest of times of their lives. They taught me to care and try to make a difference wherever I am. I'm thankful that I've been able to always remain in my hometown, where I came from. It has allowed me to grow where I was planted. I want to thank my city family, my city commissioners who are here this evening, our department head, all of our department heads, including, of course, Chief Wells. I'll get it right. It took them and all the employees for the city of Palmetto that have worked so hard with me to accomplish so much in our city with such limited funds. They share this recognition with me also. With their help, many projects have gotten accomplished throughout Palmetto over the last 6 years. The things of which I am most proud are Martin Luther King Jr. Park, which is due south, and of course, Sutton Park, in honor of our veterans. And I'm very proud of all the opportunities that we have taken advantage of to work so hard in our community, to draw our community together as one. Being part of improving Palmetto has made me very happy. I want to say thank you to the board of the Palmetto Youth Center for this honor this evening. What a wonderful event you have put on, the food, the presentation, and to be able to be entertained and learn from the different presenters and the oratory this evening and the videos has been an experience that I will always cherish. I want to say thank you all who supported me and have helped me through the years as mayor. It's been an honor to serve you, and I just want to add to that, may God bless you all. And again, thank you so much. I appreciate this, and that deeply from my heart. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. We have one special award that we will be presenting tonight, and then we will conclude with some remarks and the benediction. To present the Special Service Excellent Award is Ms. Frida Bellamy.
Good evening. It is indeed a pleasure for me to present, on behalf of the Palmetto Youth Center Board of Directors, this award for outstanding service at the Palmetto Youth Center. To the not yet announced recipient of this award, the board modified and echoes the lyrics of one of my favorite songs. How can we say thanks for the many things you have done for us? You have cooked and sold hot dogs, hamburgers, and fries, aided in sweeping, dusting, and even painting. You have written grants and acted as an accountant. You have also feverishly worked at arranging program booklets in preparation for the MLK banquet before dashing off to get dressed 1 hour before the event. You have done so many things, and you have always done them with a smile. The board would therefore like to present this special award as a symbol of our appreciation for all that you have done for us. God bless you, and may your life continue to be filled with only good things. Mrs. Tanya Lakowiak.
and I'm being pushed to the mic. Well, I'll say thank you. This was, I'm certain, not announced in advance because I tell Miss Bellamy on a regular, please don't do something like that to me. Yet here I am. I do what I do for the Palmetto Youth Center because it is a wonderful cause, because we have so many supporters, so many companies that jump on board, and because I am blessed to come in here and see the children, see the teens now with the HYPE program who come in here and really benefit, who tell me now where they want to go to college, and before they had no idea, who tell us about their grades when they walk in. It's meaningful work. I appreciate all of you being here. I think that I personally feel a commitment to use the grant writing skill that God's given me in order to help the organization and to try to just make the world a little bit better. So I do it because these are great people. So no thanks was necessary, but thank you for honoring me.
Good evening, everyone. On behalf of our board of directors and our staff here at Palmetto Youth Center, we want to thank the sponsors and we want to congratulate the honorees. We do have a couple things that we want to acknowledge tonight. One of our founding members of the Palmetto Youth Center passed away a few days ago, and tomorrow we will have her homegoing celebration. And we want to just take a brief moment of silence and extend our condolences to the Inez Ware Washington family. Thank you. It's an honor to be here as part of the Palmetto Youth Center Board of Directors. I am a young man who grew up at the Youth Center, and my basketball experiences came from these very rims that are here right now. So I'm very grateful for my opportunity. We want to take and acknowledge or remember one of our emeritus members for their acknowledgments as far as being identified as the Citizen of the Year. I think since Mr. Dick is in our presence, we should all give him a hand of applause. Thank you. What a night to see young students come up and speak and tell you what their dreams are or what lies in their dreams. But my closing remarks is a message to every adult here that has a nephew, a niece, a son, or a daughter. And the remark is, we have a responsibility to impact lives on a daily basis. We cannot allow some of the things to take place in our community to continue without standing up and taking charge to make change. If we take and think about Martin Luther King, the very different thing he gave his life for, we have a responsibility not only to remember the dream, to assure that others have the opportunity to live the dream. Those are my closing remarks. Next, we'll have Mr. Lukuviak.
Good evening, everyone. Those of you who were here last year, you know the story behind these, so I'm going to go ahead and put them on now. Yes, I'm getting old. All right, first and foremost, I need to thank God. Without him, nothing's possible. We all know that, so thank you. William Arthur Ward said, "Feeling gratitude and not expressing it is like wrapping a present and then not giving it away." So I ask that you bear with me for one more moment while I express how grateful we are here at the Palmetto Youth Center. I would like to thank our board of directors. I'm going to call their names out. Please stand as we call your names out so we can give you the proper respect you deserve. Mr. Reggie Bellamy, our new chair. Ms. Patricia Johnson, our vice chair. Ms. Frida Bellamy, secretary. Mr. Cliff McDermott, treasurer. Reverend Ted Tillis, parliamentarian. I'm sorry I messed that word up. Coach Shannon. Stand up, Coach Shannon. Miss Lily Covington. Miss Frankie Craddock. Miss Katia Martin. Miss Orly Murray. Reverend Stan is not here today with us. Mr. Arthur Wallace and Judge Charles Williams. Please stand up. Thank you. Where am I at here? Okay, I want to thank the County Commission and United Way. Without the help of the County Commission and United Way, we would not be able to bring the programs that we do here. So thank you, commissioners. Ed, thank you. Appreciate it. I don't know if there's anyone here from United Way. Thank you. A special thanks to METV. In addition to their support of the weekend's events, and we have several, parade, church service, they're a constant source of information for me and an education all of Manatee County. So Charles and his staff, they have a crack staff. Thank you. Wherever y'all are at, thank you. I want to thank our youth, those who were featured here this evening, as well as those who dedicate their time and energy to participate in the essay contest. These children make us feel good about our future. Great job, y'all. Thank you to our honorees and for all that you do in the community. Please stay behind after the banquet for a moment. We need a photo, please. And finally, I want to thank our sponsors. There's a bunch of banners all over the place throughout the gymnasium. We have more outside on the fence. We've been lucky to have so many great sponsors. They support our efforts. Most of you who come to this event, you see the same people every year. That says something about the organization. The same people are willing to support us year after year after year. And this isn't a couple of years. This isn't a decade. We're going on over 50 years here in operation. 56, 58 years, something like that. That says something. So please give yourselves a round of applause. Matt, would you please stand up for a minute? I hate to do it to you, but would you please stand up for a minute? Matt is representative from Premier. Premier is one of our big banners here. Premier is a minimum of probably about $15,000, $20,000 a year. They help us out. They're based out of Atlanta. They're one of Bell's vendors. Matt is here at every Martin Luther King event, comes in from Atlanta, and at our golf tournament that we have in June, end of June, beginning of July. Matt, thank you. I want to take this opportunity also to thank all the law enforcement, public safety, first responders that we have here in this community. They're great. We have a great partnership with them here. We had the chief of Bradenton here earlier, the chief of police, the sheriff. We're constantly working with them to help our kids. And I don't know what else to say about that other than thank you. And I'll close by saying, as I always do, please join us throughout the weekend for our events. The parade tomorrow starts at 12 o'clock, leaving out of Lincoln School. We'd love to have you all come out. We have a church service here on Sunday at 6 o'clock, choir, the whole bit. If you haven't been here, it's a great time. Please come on out. We could use the support on that. And as always, make sure you drink your Tropicana orange juice because it'll make you strong. And shop at Bell's. Thank you.
You may stand, please. Almighty and everlasting God, thou the creator of the whole world, every drop of rain, every blade of grass is known to thee. Even the pebble on the beach is a part of thy glorious plan. We come again before your presence with thanksgiving. We thank you for your grace, your mercy, your blessings, but most of all, we thank you for the salvation that you provide for us through your Son, Jesus Christ. Free us from the guilt of sin through thy forgiveness, and give us the fullness of life set free from fear and doubt. We thank you, O God, for the opportunity to fellowship this evening, particularly in a diverse environment. For your word instruct us in Acts 17 and 26 that men of all nations were made from the blood of one man, and you've determined the time and place and limitation of their habitats. And as Dr. King raised the conscience of the nation with his I Have a Dream speech, and as these young ladies challenge us tonight, it's my hope that our conscience will be raised to the degree that we too would examine the human conditions and see what we can do to help make it better. And as we leave, we pray that you would be a lamp unto our feet and a light unto our pathway. And may the grace of God and the communion of the Holy Spirit go with us now, rest, abide now, henceforth and forevermore. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.